Okay, I'm really not in the mood to talk about this now or do this video right now, but I will do the best that I can do. I wanted to discuss this at 6 a.m. because I was watching a video by a YouTuber named Cerebral, and she was basically saying the present is now, your life is now. What does Black history have to do with today? Which I agree with, and I think is very true. And as she stated, there is nothing wrong with knowing your history or being proud of your history. But to drag it on day by day by day by day, and to continuously be stuck in the past and in the gloom of the past and the shoulda coulda wouldas and using excuses and this is why I don't have, and people need to focus on right now and the future. And I don't see a lot of that. Like she said, these Hotep people, it's always in the Egyptians. And Egypt was very perverted. Egypt had a close relationship with Greece. Now, a lot of us have heard about how the reason we got caught up in slavery in the first place was due to the fact that Africans were selling other Africans. But I started to think, did it have something to do with the homosexual African male? Did the homosexual African male get easily influenced by the European homosexual white male? No matter what part of Europe they were from, it didn't matter, because we always like to blame homosexuality on white people. But was this something that was prevalent in Africa already, by a small group of men, and they were easily influenced by their white lovers? That's something to think about. Because as I was listening to her YouTube channel and thinking about other videos and other things I read, it started coming together. They said nothing is new under the sun and history repeats itself. So one would have to ask themselves, why are they promoting and pushing the LGBT agenda the hardest in the Black community, on the Black youth? There was a movie that came out called Moonlight, and I think that was the biggest disgrace I've seen in my life. Yes, Moonlight was the biggest disgrace and the biggest shocker I ever seen in my life. I could not believe white men, adult white men, got together and made a movie about a gay black little boy and got away with it. One thing about that movie, I didn't see the little boy when he was a child doing anything gay in the movie until he got in high school. Um, and he wasn't the only one doing the gay stuff. They just wanted to make a movie about somebody being gay. Because they kept saying in the movie, you different, you different. Then he was sitting down eating dinner with Janelle Monáe. Yeah, he was in Janelle Monáe's house in the movie. And he asked this family that he befriended was gay. And they all was acting like they knew he was gay. I didn't see the little boy doing nothing. Just because you being... And then this whole thing with bullying that everybody fed into. Is bullying a new word? No, it is not. They made it seem like in commercials, and they were trying to brainwash people to think if you are being bullied, you're being bullied because you're gay. You just don't know. Everything has something to do with being gay right now. I'm talking about the present. But like I said, history repeats itself. Okay, we always talk about Greece fell and the is it 3,000 or 300? It was 300. 300. So the real 300, and you could go to the library and look this up. You can Google it. The real historical M300, the reason why it was 300 because it was 150 men on one side, 150 men on the other side. You had the alpha and the beta male. And I wish black people will stop using alpha and beta, because any word black people learn, they take it out of context. And like, for example, weird, black people don't even know what weird means or weird is. The way you guys are dressing is what's weird. And, you know, anytime somebody is not group thinking, they're calling them weird. Smoking crack is weird. Just shut the F up. But anyway, they had 150 men on one side, 150 men on the other side. They were coupled up. The soldiers were gone away. Yeah, they were coupled up because the soldiers had wives, but they knew they were going to be away from the wives for so long, and they felt like they needed to release. So they felt, what better way to release than to release on another male? So back then, it was okay to be gay long as you had an excuse or a reason for it. And I'm seeing that now. It started out with the black females. It's okay long as you have an excuse. And the excuse is normally niggas ain't shit. Which, what I don't understand is, if niggas ain't shit, why don't you just deal with women? They never do that. They deal with women, they deal with men, and they deal with children. Every woman I know that is a bisexual is the biggest whore in the land. And nobody wants to say this, but the truth needs to be said. So there's only so long you are going to get away with using the female as the scapegoat. You know, this is the female sexuality, and just throwing it and women's faces and making it mandatory and basically making it the law where if you want a husband, this is what you have to do. Because I know more than a handful of black women that had to sleep with another woman in order to get a ring on their finger. This is the times that we live in right now. So it's only so long that the female sex can have that type of oppression. And you think that it's not going to rub off on the male sex? Some spirits transfer. You got men out here saying that they won't even deal with a woman unless she's bisexual. And this black man that says this, you'll see that same man 10 years later and he'll be gay. So I'm going to leave that right there. But far as history repeating itself, I lived through the Jeffrey Dahmer trial. I was alive and I was around when that was going on, and that was the joke back in the day when it was happening for real. Everybody was laughing and tripping out on it. It was sad, but it was, crazy at the same time. So we was tripping out on it in the 90s the same way everybody is, blown away and finding some humor in it from the show. And I seen a lot of people on YouTube make videos saying the same thing. I was trying to find some of these videos and probably take a piece of it and put it in this video. But they're saying the black man, no, he love himself a white man. The black man don't care if it's a man or a woman, long as it's white. And these are black men that's saying this, not about themselves, but just talking about the black race as a whole. And they're thinking the same thing that a lot of people are thinking, like, you wanted a white man ass so bad that you were able to stand the stench of death? Think about it. Just like you got that black guy, Tracy Edwards, that escaped from Dahmer. He met and mingled with Dahmer 3 or 4 times, him and his friends. But when Dahmer met them, he pretty much kept it real and told them from the door, I would like to take nude pictures of y'all. I'm a photographer. That didn't spark a red flag in none of those black men' mind. So the same thing could have happened in 1412 or something like that. The white men came to us. They said something freakish in their own way. The black man went for it. Then the white man talked him down into trading his own race. Like, they like to put in the media, just like that Walmart supervisor. I shouldn't laugh, but the Walmart black guy that shot up all his employees. They were saying he said he was being teased and he was outcast. I don't see gays being outcast and teased. I don't think I ever seen that, especially with them being the majority right now. I don't care if you are bisexual, you still gay. So with them being the majority, I don't see that. So if that's the case, let's say that, it was some type of black person that was in leadership in the 1400s or something. Whatever, before slavery started. And the white man came and made him feel accepted and said, we're the same. We're the same. I'm just like you. They don't know us. They don't feel your pain. Screw all of them. They're wrong. You're right. This is love. Why wouldn't you trade or turn on the community or the tribe. You know, if we were pointing fingers and saying you were queer and the white man, your lover, it's so many tricks that could have happened back then. Just look at the tricks of today. I think that's what happened. And it's going to come out. There's going to be more people than me that's going to put this out here. Because, you know, we like to talk about how, you know, when we were in slavery, not only was the slave master raping the women, you know, it was times where he also raped males, which is very sad. And for the people who aren't aware that Africans sold other Africans into slavery, if you watch the latest version of Roots, I believe it came out 5 years ago. T.I. was in the movie, and he did pretty good. I think T.I. should leave the comedy alone and probably stick to acting. He is a good actor. And, you know, maybe, I don't know what's going on as far as him in rap. I know on that show at one time he said he was feeling old. But I don't see why he just don't stick to acting, because he is one of the few rappers that can actually act, and he started out acting early. But anyway, T.I. was in the movie. It was Roots. It was the modern version of Roots. And soon as the video came on, they had people, like the image I posted, where they're like in this grass. It's like a voodoo ritual ceremony where basically in this image, it's supposed to only be a spirit under there. Like they try to say nobody's under there, and the little grass or whatever starts dancing. You know, they show that whole story in the beginning of Roots. So check it out. But yeah, so we know that Africans sold Africans into slavery, but what convinced them to do that? And see, when you're into any type of witchcraft and all that different stuff that our ancestors were doing, you're opening up doorways, you're opening up gateways, you're opening up portals. And when you are doing homosexual activity, especially male anal homosexual activity, I don't care if this video do get taken down. People need to hear this because the kids don't know these days. That is a portal. That is an entry. And it's sad that the sexist people that run this world could openly talk about how the woman vaginal canal is an opening in the doorway and a vessel and soul ties. But we got to keep our mouth shut when it comes to a man opening up his back door vessel. So what I'm saying is, the reason I posted the image of the King of Scotland is because I remember when that movie came out, before I even saw it. They kept, because that's a true story, The Last King of Scotland. And they kept insinuating that it was some homo stuff going on with the white guy who was like a news reporter and the king in the movie. And when I saw it, I mean, I didn't really see anything gay. They got close and got real tight with each other. But I remember watching that movie with a boyfriend of mine. And he was saying that he even thought it was gay. And did they just trying to, you know, keep it clean? He was saying they were trying to keep it a little clean because it was a movie. And you have to read between the lines. But I also want to say there's a story in the Bible When Ham disrobed his father, Ham was an African. He disrobed his father, and his father cursed him. The Hamites are supposed to be Northern Africa. Okay, Northern and Eastern Africa. And so people won't think that I'm being biased and I'm pointing fingers. I myself am a Northeastern African. Okay? I know my Black history. On one side of my family, it wasn't the typical slave story. The story was a little bit different than what they teach in school. I don't want to go into details, but basically it was like a kidnap. A single kidnap. And so that person in my family was stuck over here. They were doing business and they were kidnapped, forced to fight in civil war. And they even talk about that in that Roots movie, the T.I.'s in, how some people, the blacks were forced to fight in the Civil War. Long story short, so the Hamites are Africans. And a lot of people, the Bible, you have to read between the lines, but a lot of people think when they say he seen his father naked, they believe he sodomized his father. None of us was there, so we don't know. Now, we all know the story of Adam and Eve and how once they ate of the apple, they saw their nakedness and they thought it was bad. So, to see somebody naked is something sacred and is meant for a husband and wife. Let's say he didn't sodomize his father. What was the point? And what was it leading up to? But a lot of people think that's what happened. So if that did happen, that's a telltale sign right there. Now, the Northeastern African is a combination of the Hamites and the Cushites. Nimrod, which is an Ethiopian, is a Cushite. Nimrod was one of the most evilest men on this earth. And I'm saying all this to say that we like to point the finger and talk about the weaknesses in other races. And we feel like we were captured for no reason. We go through everything we go through for no reason. But what if it is a reason? It is a reason. We want to play victim and we don't want to get down to the truth. And the more truthful we are with ourselves, the more we can correct our wrongs and stop complaining. So this is something we need to think about. And this is something we need to fix. And we need to put the dots together. Connect the dots. There was a YouTuber in 2015. Me and that same boyfriend was watching a video he made saying the same thing I'm saying. He was saying that Africa been gay, and it was other videos back then. And you can't find that stuff on YouTube now. But he was showing clips of certain ceremonies and stuff. And his name was Red. I don't see him on YouTube anymore. Um, but he was pointing out how some of this homosexual stuff is in the ceremonies they do. They do the ceremony and they move on with their life. And the singer that made that song, I'm a Classic Man, I don't know. I heard he was Jamaican. Now they're saying he's Nigerian. But the bottom line is, he did an interview not too long ago, and he was saying that in the rituals in Africa, this is coming from an African, that they have to do homosexual rituals at times. So he was saying the whole thing about Africans being against homosexuality is a front. And maybe they are against it now because they know in Africa what it has done to us in the past. Now, there are several scriptures in the Bible that talk about how God is against same-sex relationships. But we like to talk about that we're going through this stuff for no reason. We're going through stuff because our skin is darker and our hair is different and all of this and that. It's not just that. Something went on. Because if we were the first, then obviously at one point it was no big deal to have different hair or a different skin complexion. I'm getting tired of making this video. But all of this is something for people to think about.